Today I'm taking you on a little tour of my favorite Halloween and fall quilts. Come on in. This is a small fall piece that I did for my mom. It's sort of a one-off. It was part of a larger design, and the larger design, which is sort of a table runner length, I colored and then I sent to my mother for embroidering. And so this one was just a test sample piece where I was trying out the coloring on fabric, and I liked it, but I had not drawn out the entire piece. So I went ahead and finished this one up and I gave it to my mom. And then after she passed, I reclaimed it. And then I think that's a cute little pincushion, which is hat. So that comes out for display together this time of year. I kind of rearrange things most of the time. This is another piece that I think is adorable. It's actually a Crabapple Hill design, and it's for embroidery, but yeah, I don't have the patience, the time. I don't do that. So what I did is I just did it all with markers and then coloring. So used the same coloring on fabric technique and then used fine line permanent markers for fabric to do the lettering, tracing those from the pattern. And I just think the little 9 patches are so cute. So this is my little KitchenAid stand corner. The KitchenAid just really gets to be decorative most of the time these days. I was really excited about cooking at one time, and then I stopped being excited about cooking. So here's now your turn, and I was in the kitchen. Now we're in the dining room, family room. No, this is the living room. This is a piece that I made a couple of years ago. It was a guild challenge, and the fabric in the crystal ball was the challenge fabric. And it's about a month before the challenge is due, and I still don't know what I'm going to do as my quilt. I just don't even really have a concept yet. But I have to turn in the paperwork that says that I'm going to be a part of the challenge. So I title it Too Soon to Tell, because I really had no idea. But the title, I think, ended up working pretty well, and I kept it even once the quilt was complete, because I thought Too Soon to Tell worked very well for a fortune teller scene. And this is when I staged and had Cindy take pictures for me. So I am both the fortune seeker and the fortune teller. So my destiny is in my own hands. That's sort of the subtext behind that. So now moving on, let's see, you can get a peek into the family room there. This is a table topper. This year I'm just merging Thanksgiving and Halloween, because chances are nothing's going to get changed until Christmas. So I'm just putting out my favorites. This is, again, one that I made for my mom and her request specifically. And then when she passed away, I reclaimed it. Yeah, still trying to get the painting finished around the house. This I'm so thrilled to say, thanks to the Lauretta Bugs UFO Club, is finally finished. For the last few years, it's just been, I've hung it anyways because I love it, but it has not been a finished quilt. And so this year it is actually quilted. It has a real binding. It has a hanging sleeve. It even has a label. So it gets place of honor this year. I am only putting out what was easy to reach. I have crates of stuff in the studio, and I just didn't feel like getting them down. So the exception was Mr. Skeleton, because he's one small box, easy to take down. And everything else, it was either already in the house, in a cabinet, or sits out in my studio year round and then just comes into the house for fun. Most of my quilts that I use for display are hanging in the guest closet if they're not on the road with me, which has had extra storage problems since I haven't been on the road for the last almost 2 years. So having to find more places for my quilts and get them out of the suitcases that they frequently travel around in. So I finished this banner for the fireplace last year. That was my big project last year. I had collected all these Janet Wecker Frisch pennants. They came out, I think, 2 different fabric companies, several different years apart. And so I was able to incorporate my favorites from those 2 lines in this mantle scarf, I guess that's what they call them. And then I did have a few holiday pillows tucked away in an easy to reach, just the spare room cabinet. This little couple here are always sitting out in my studio. They were gifted to me by my mother-in-law, and I think they're just delightful. So they never go far. And then this is a little triptych. It changes. It's like 4 triptychs in different seasons. So this is the autumn version. I think it was called Patchabilities. They were something that I made as samples for Ginger's Quilt Shop back when I was teaching there. This also got finished. It only was about a year in making. I think I started it last fall and displayed it, but now it's actually quilted and has a hanging sleeve and has a label, thanks to Rettabug's UFO Club. Yeah, actually, we got so much done this year. It was really fun group. This is a pattern by Laura Heine, and it's a collage quilt. And I think it just always struck me. I thought it was really lovely and graphic, and now I have one, and I don't know that I'll do that technique too much more, but it's fun, and I'm done now. This is, I can't remember the company who does this, which is bad of me. I made this quite a long time ago. It's some of the few wool felt things that I've ever made, but I thought they were fun and fit nicely on this little spot next to the door. Turning. Oh, here you get the long shot of the room. All right. And this one was called Robbing Peter to Pay Jack, something like that. And it was one of the first Halloween wall hangings that I made from a magazine. And you made the pumpkin blocks, and then you cut them in half, and then you shuffled them around so that each had a light side and a dark side. So a fun project, one of the first ones where I tried some free motion stitching. I didn't just stitch in the ditch. I was very proud. And I still think it's fun. Okay, let's see. We're kind of coming to the end-ish. Got just a couple of more things. So I do have a fall quilt on the bed and my fall curtains. And our dear friend here is sporting a little Halloween, little witch's hat. And then here, this one is it was designed by Pearl Pereira. And she had come and she spoke at our guild. This was, probably 10 or so years ago at least. And I really liked the design, and it fit really nicely on my entry wall, the one that the jack-o'-lanterns quilt is on right now. So normally these would get swapped out, but again, since I'm just doing it once and done, it's going to hang out here in my bedroom. I decided not to walk you into my bathroom, but I did want to share with you the tablescape that I have set up in here for Halloween. This is probably one of the quilts I will swap out since the minis are easy to switch. And I have a Happy Thanksgiving that's really cute as well. The little pumpkins will go back in my studio where they happily sit all year long with some friends. And I want you to know that the mini quilts are available as digital downloads, and I do have patterns for several of the quilts that I shared today available in my shop. We'll have links to those in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of my home and my favorite fall and Halloween quilts. Until next time, keep on stitching.